Alright, hello and welcome in today's video where we will be seeing a scenario where what if Oceania united as a single country? This is going to be interesting because Oceania is not very powerful. They are not that populated. I mean, it's all being carried by Australia. But besides that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And again, please do like and subscribe because we're trying to get a bunch of subscribers. I don't even know how much we're at when I'm posting this, but hopefully it's a lot. So hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this video and I think we could get right into it. Before I do this, I want to give a quick shout out to Sean Mapping or the Sultanate Empire. I don't know if he changed it or not. Basically, great YouTuber, good pal of mine. He started a YouTube channel. I don't know how much it's grown in the meantime of this pre-recording, but hopefully a lot. So I would really recommend you go subscribe to him because he has his whole series and everything. But we can get into the video. Oceania, not very powerful. It's all being carried by Australia. It's basically just an Australian Empire video, but shh, you don't need to know that. But basically, what's going to be happening is it's going to be quite difficult actually to do anything since any real countries like Indonesia, they're way stronger. Philippines, they're way stronger. Taiwan, that's basically China. You can't deal with that. They're going to get upsetty spaghetti. So, with your options, you obviously have Malaysia, which is definitely a real option. Our first one, Madagascar. Now, maybe it might not seem the first choice to the eye, very far away, but when you got so little options, why not go for it? And it's a fun, dumb scenario. Don't expect anything that's too much. Basically, what we're going to see is Madagascar slowly and steadily just being flooded very quickly, and obviously this isn't going to go too well because this is basically just Australian forces and a couple other small ones. I wouldn't be surprised if most of these countries don't even have a military. I mean, there's actually a very good chance that's it. But the next option, actually, I take it back. This is the first option. I forgot about these guys. My bad. Basically, they are going to go bye-bye. I'm not even going to color it in. They can get colored in. Just like that. Now, I think this is... So basically, with this, we see a bit of a road bump. These guys don't have many options until we see this right here. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to declare war on Burma. They are going to very quickly, they're just going to fall, okay? They're no more. And with this, after years of probably preparing, and I mean this is going to be a difficult task, but they are going to declare war on Myanmar. Because obviously, they probably aren't too much stronger than Myanmar, because I mean obviously, again, carried by Australia. But what they'll do is, with this landing right here, and with a naval invasion over into these areas, fairly quickly, these areas will fall to Oceania, but the rest of Myanmar, it will go very slowly with slow and steady gains and eventually some small push-throughs like this one. But it also doesn't help when there's a very large pushback, which really pisses these guys off. But finally, what happens one point is they get all these areas down here, which kind of in a way also blocks off Indonesia from doing any expansion. And very quickly, these guys are squeezed out. And in a weakened state, they will also make a couple of naval landings in these areas right over here, making these guys also a lot weaker, which eventually allows them to just connect up these areas until Myanmar finally falls. And with this, we see the integration of these guys in this single country. And I don't think they really might have the power just yet to go into places like Thailand. That's why we're going to be seeing them go straight into Cambodia. So basically, very quickly, these guys, they will flood into this country, and I mean, Cambodia is not that strong, so it won't take too long until they just kind of begin to fairly quickly just collapse, and then eventually, they will also just surrender. And with this, we will also see the full annexation of these guys, and obviously, it's going to be like a little island empire. It's going to be very scattered around, but oh well. And obviously, they're just going to continue doing this with their next target being Laos. Now, Laos is also very mountainy, so that wouldn't be very fun. So that is why I'm kind of going to pretend like the mountains don't exist. But obviously, after months and also probably maybe again years, I would say actually probably a couple months, these guys will get up into these areas. And eventually, they'll even get all these places in Laos. Because obviously, Laos, they're not doing too good. And eventually, they will get squeezed out just like that. And eventually, Laos faces the same fate as Cambodia, where they are also completely annexed into this nation. I love how like this is an Oceania empire, and then They're just going into Southeast Asia. How great. Now, I do also want to point out, obviously, a little late, but a lot of relations in videos like this, like NATO, don't exist. Therefore, a lot of different relations, they're not as good with each other. I forgot Hawaii. God damn it. Oh well. With that, I also want to point out that a lot of countries have the chance to do something. They are going to take it. For example, like these guys, they probably would have taken Taiwan by. I mean, actually, no. The U.S. would probably still block that. But what is going to happen is China declaring war on Vietnam. So basically, Chinese troops, one of the strongest countries, they will very quickly flood into the country just like this. It is a jungle and it is going to be difficult, but I do think they would still probably win this. But also, this is a perfect timing for our good old buddies down over there. So they will also be making a move, making their way through some areas of Vietnam, and obviously Vietnam, very good country, very prosperous and developed, over like 100 million people. So basically with this, we see these guys going all the way up into here fairly quickly, trying to snag as much land as humanly possible, obviously before China gets there. And until then, Vietnam is partitioned very quickly, just like that. And just like that, this little empire is going to grow even more, with them even getting those areas right there. Now with this, we also see the perfectness of how this has all been going. And eventually, of course, more years, because this is probably one of the longest spanning videos when in terms of how much years has passed. They will finally be able to at least attempt to declare war on Thailand. So basically, a lot of troops. This is most of their army. They're all going to try to flood into this country as best as they can, trying to get as many stuff as possible, with them pushing up all the way into these areas right over here. And obviously, most troops coming from down here into these most of areas, because this is where most of the troops are going to be, which means that there's going to be an opening over here very quickly. So all these northern parts, even with the mountains, it's not going to go too well for these guys. It is going to fall. So not the best there. But with this, we can also see in the meantime, these guys are able to get more stuff going until they finally cut this part off, and they're able to help them out all the way over here, with them also just trying to take as much land as possible. So slowly and steadily, one of the most gruesome wars that's probably going to be seen in a long time in history, they're able to get these guys out and very slowly again be able to finally take over all of Thailand. And in this peace negotiation, while many lives were lost, for them it was a victory, where they get full annexation of this country, and it is now entirely Oceanian. Even though by now most of the population is now in Southeast Asia. Don't worry about that though. Shh, that's not real. But with this, we will see them with a little more confidence also attack Myanmar or Burma or whatever you want to call it. So basically Myanmar right here, which is what I'll be calling it. They are definitely weaker than Thailand, and with the very newer annexation of it, it will be a lot easier for these guys to start going into these areas right up here until in the last moment, I'm not going to color it in, but China also jumps in, getting this small area right over here. And with this, we can see all of these areas actually going, I guess, to Oceania and I guess also like Thailand. But now, they're going to be facing their hardest challenge yet, of course, the Philippines, because they have a very high population. So it's going to be quite difficult for them. I'll give them that. But they're also very powerful. So these guys now almost certainly at this point have gotten a lot stronger in the meantime, because obviously they've been collecting stuff like all of this right here. This has like 50. These guys have these guys are definitely over these guys, so and they've definitely become stronger. So with this, we could see a very gruesome war to try to get some naval invasions onto some islands. They got a few here. But getting into other areas, it's less easy, where they get a few on this southern island right here, but have to very slowly make their way on a couple, just trying to get to some areas. But eventually, the Philippines will slowly and steadily begin to collapse and fall, until finally, on this main island right here, it will very slowly and finally get taken over. And just like this, we have all of these areas right here finally under Oceanian rule, which now leaves them with one final challenge: Indonesia. Now, this country is going to be quite difficult because obviously it's the strongest one that they're going to face, because it's also one of the strongest countries. It's just in general very scary. So with this, they are going to try. There's going to be a little attempt. How well it'll go, we'll see. Now, kind of expected, the first move will be by Oceania, with them moving their troops with a little sneak attack, capturing as many islands as they possibly can. But obviously, don't get far because this is Java with their most populated island. And eventually, they can also capture a couple of these areas right over here, capturing some of these northern parts and going all the way down into these areas over here until eventually they just kind of keep going down, where they eventually are met up with a buttload of troops down over here, and that's kind of going to stop them there. But also, obviously, this area right here, you know how that's going to go. It's going to go bye-bye. These guys, no more, kind of finito. And they also kind of continue hopping onto this island, but they do eventually also take back and are also able to get all these areas back without that much issue. So right now it's kind of even until these guys also begin their offensive into these areas of their old land and eventually Papua New Guinea, where we see these guys. Is this purple? Hold on. Okay, guys, so my colorblind ass couldn't figure that out. I can't tell if this is pink or not, but something like this probably works. There we go. So basically, these guys right here, they're going to continue flooding into this area right over here. So, and obviously these guys, they're in a bit of a panic mode. They don't want this to keep on happening. But luckily for them, they're able to finally get these areas kicked out and eventually even take back some land right over here in the Philippines, as well as over here, where it goes actually very well, and they even are able to get all these areas with some dysfunctioning from their military, which also allows them to get these areas back right over here. It begins to look something like this, where we eventually see them finally making a landing on Java, which has a lot of people. So eventually, if they could just get that, they'll be pretty good on hopefully winning this war. So with this, we can see them also finally getting some more stuff over here. I think this is Burma. I could be wrong, but if it is, I'm going to keep saying that. So Burma right there also falls with the eventual collapse of these areas right over here, until it is kind of left with this right here, where we see every single possible troop, because there are maybe some troops on the border over here, but there's no one over here. So basically, it's all their troops really focused on a single country. So, I mean, it is likewise, but they kind of just have a bit of an advantage. And with this, we can finally see slowly and steadily the final collapse of Indonesia. And that is going to do it for today's video. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and maybe you could subscribe for more content like this, and that's all I'm going to say. Bye-bye.